cold, hard. I apologize to the fans. I know.
Brace yourselves, boys. We're going in.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm not reading. I'm just looking at the picture. Welcome to the cold, hard truth. Welcome, everybody, to another week of the Cold Hard Truth on Sports here on the GoLong Media channel on blogtalkradio.com. You can also now hear this show syndicated live on the Spreaker. That's Spreaker, not speaker. It's like speaker with an R after the P. Spreaker. On the Spreaker radio app. You can also hear the show podcasted on SoundCloud. It's over on the Tumblr. It's on everywhere. And tonight, we're on YouTube Live Hangout, Google Hangout is what they're calling it. So you can see the show now in different a bunch of different formats. We're going to keep doing what we can to syndicate the show, to make it bigger, to continue to add on wherever we can, however we can. So I really look forward to doing it. If you want to check out any of the previous shows, all you have to do is go over to our website. It's the Cold Hard Truth on Sports website at thechtonsports.com. The show handle, of course, is the CHT on Sports. Those of you on YouTube, go over to YouTube. Check out YouTube. If you're going to subscribe to my channel at Matt Long Sports. That's also my Twitter, Instagram, Snap, whatever. It's my social media handles. So you can find that over on YouTube. All of our shows we broadcast live on YouTube Live now as well. And hopefully this show, as well as the daily show that I do called To the Half, hopefully here pretty soon we'll have those on iHeartRadio. So a lot of big things coming down the pipeline. I was at the practices today for the 2017 East-West Shrine Game. It's now an official NFL event. The East-West Shrine Game has partnered up with the NFL. You will be able to see that game live Saturday on the NFL Network, so be sure to tune in there. I've talked to a lot of the people that over there that's put it together. They've been wonderful, very gracious, very hospitable, and they've taken care of me well over there. So it's been fun so far, and it's always nice just to you look to your left, you see Jason Light from the Buccaneers. You know, you look to your left and you see Benson Buckner, the linebacker coach from the Arizona Cardinals. So, you know, just guys, agents. I know Gary Glick just got in town tonight, so he'll be at the practices the rest of this week, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's nice seeing the agents and front office people and stuff kind of there involved in an official NFL event. It's nice for me to be there and represent the Cold Hard Truth on Sports, and it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. And of course, you guys know my co-host, Kevin Krest. He's here with me tonight. So we're going to get ready. We're going to talk a little bit how college football it's transitioning into the NFL draft. We'll get into, like I said, my coverage of the Shrine Game, the practices, and kind of some of the prospects I'm seeing there. We'll get into the playoffs this weekend. I was just talking with Kevin off the air how it seemed like, you know, this round of the playoffs just seemed to be kind of similar to the college football playoffs and kind of mundane. And then, you know, here Mark then Sunday happened. So we'll get into that, some of our predictions going forward, and our opinion on the situation that's going on with Antonio Brown and his 1 game suspension, our guests, your calls, and much, much more. So, how are you doing tonight, Kevin? That's that's awesome. For one, yeah, I mean, he said that we're gonna level a 1 game suspension for it. So if he's decided that he's Sunday, yeah, yeah, it's one thing. It's one thing that you want to send a message, but I don't know if is this the right message to send, or are they sending the message that there's no tolerance, you don't want to do these things, or are they sending the message that maybe winning a Super Bowl isn't where they're headed, because he's clearly one of their most formidable weapons. Uh, whichever way you want to slice this pie. I mean, he's he's probably the best wide receiver in the league. I'm sure that no team has won or lost a Super Bowl because of their wide receiver, but I'm certainly saying that he gives them a dynamic to cut the top off of that defense and really stretch out and utilize the whole field. So it's tough to think that you know that he's going to be gone for that game. Obviously, he'd be available in the Super Bowl, but let's see if they kind of walk some of that back. I know that's as far as what I've heard. I haven't seen anything official from the Steelers, and I haven't had anything come across here as far as suspensions for. I'm in right now in the NFL media back end, and I don't see anything there. It gets him another year. I think it would get him at least another year in the sane mind of a GM, but beyond this year, you don't know. I mean, if they again, it's something like obviously if they get to the Super Bowl, that probably gives them. I don't know. It's crazy because like if you look at other teams like Denver, for example, they fire their coach the year after they win the Super Bowl. The very next season, he's gone. So it's yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and those are the ones that won this year. I mean, Matt Ryan's having a really good year there in Atlanta, um, MVP type season, and they won their game. Um, Rodgers won his game. I mean, clearly the more veteran, better quarterback there. Uh, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, you just kind of go down the line. Um, the better quarterback won, and it's not so surprising, and it's interesting to me to see that uh, how Green Bay kind of puts it together because we talk so much about rankings and defenses and stuff like that, defensive ranking or power rankings and all these things, but when it comes down to it, the great teams, the teams that we see there each and every year, they're just good at finding a way to get it done. I mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway from it is they just find a way to get it done. and uh, and for me to to see the teams that we have doesn't seem odd at all. But what it does kind of do for the storyline, there's not really so much of a Cinderella. I guess if you want to call Atlanta, um, nearly last place to, you know, uh, they've kind of came a long way and progressed under Dan Quinn. They're probably the closest you could say call it like that Cinderella storyline that media people like to draw, but it's it's a lot of what we've seen in the past. But I mean, there's the questions: is the Packers defense going to be able to do what it needs to do against all the weapons on those Atlanta offense? Is what are the Steelers going to end up doing here? Uh, is it going to be official um, that Antonio Brown's not going to be in the game? I don't know. I think they might kind of leave that up in the air. I mean, the reports have came out today that they plan on a one-game suspension. I know it says here we will punish him, but we won't punish us. That's a quote from Tomlin's press conference earlier today. So it doesn't really say no, we're not suspending him. So I mean, that's not a bad. I don't know if that's a bad angle to take against Bill Belichick. You know, I'm sure when he watches the tapes that he creates of the Steelers practices, you'll see if he's Antonio Brown's involved in practice or not. I guess I don't know. I don't know. That seems to be Belichick's thing, but it's still. I mean, t- yeah, 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 I agree. I think that's kind of what I was going with it. Just to kind of highlight what you were saying, the Steelers last year, their first round pick, which is 25th, Archie Burns, he's their starting quarterback. He's from Miami. He's their starting cornerback. In the second round, they went safety, Sean Davis out of Maryland. He's right now. He's their starting strong safety. So it's a young defense, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're building that defense through the draft. Their third pick was Javon Hargraves, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina. And if you go over, look at the depth chart on defense, he's starting nose tackle. So 3 guys that they drafted, first, second, third round, guys are all starting at those positions. What does that say just for the scouting and developing of the coaching staff here? We're critical. I've said it before. I don't think Mike Tomlin is that top end head coach in the league, but it's not like you're gonna find. It's just like quarterbacks. I look at head coaches the same way I look at quarterbacks. There's a few of them that are they're elite. That's it. They're the top. They do wonders with whatever they have. Then there's a lot of guys that are very good, and have winning records every year. I think Tomlin. I think he's really a really good head coach, and he's even more importantly has assembled a staff that can develop guys. And my biggest criticism of them is not being more consistently in the playoffs or playing for really something that looks like a legitimate Super Bowl season. Like if they're getting to this point every year, I think your job should be safe. They don't think that way because even the Browns think that they should win a Super Bowl. Why not? But I know we chuckle at that. By the way, the Browns staff was in full force today. I counted at least 4 or 5 staff from the Cleveland Browns here in Tampa today. So they had the Chargers too. The Chargers had their staff out in full force, even though their coaching situation is kind of with Josh McDaniels withdrawing his name from contention. It's kind of basically down to Kyle Shanahan, I guess. But they were here. Their staff was here doing what they got to do. It's just odd that that there hasn't been like a wink and a nod where Kyle Shanahan. They know they're gonna hire Kyle Shanahan when as soon as the season's done for Atlanta, but. So we can at least, have an idea of the staff he wants, but the staff that was in place, again, they were here today, the Los Angeles Chargers. By the way, they're wearing the old Bolts. Oh yeah, that's right. The Niners. Sorry. Yeah, that's Shanahan. But the Chargers were here. They had the old bolt on. They didn't wear the Dodgers logo with the bolt attached to it. I guess it's Chargers logo, but it looks just like the Dodgers logo with a bolt, a lightning bolt. Steelers Falcons. What do you think this does for the losing teams? I mean, do you think any of these teams, the teams that lost this weekend, the Chiefs, um, Seahawks, I mean, do you think any of their coaches are in trouble? Yeah. Yeah. Is he a better broadcaster than he was a quarterback? Do you think, Troy Aikman? Yeah. A Wawa. Hmm. You don't think Lynn? You don't think Lynn's a good coach? The Rams. Yeah. No. So is this a crazier hire than Lane Kiffin? Because I mean, at least Lane Kiffin kind of had I don't know the name. I mean, he did a. I think he did some admirable stuff. Maybe he didn't deserve to be the head coach of the Raiders at the time he was, but that was Al Davis, and that's kind of the type of stuff that Al Davis did. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, is Sean McVay? I mean, do you even think he's a decent offensive coordinator? I mean, he did. I was gonna say, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he got well, he came close. He had a 10-win season and I think they lost the tiebreaker. I think that's what it was. They had a 10-win season. Which it seemed like a completely fluke season. You know, it yeah. It's the thing is, I mean, he got his start in the NFL as a coach in the NFL under John Gruden here in Tampa. Then he went to the UFL under Jim Haslett, and then he's been with the Redskins since 2010. So it's it's again, he was one of the few staff that was actually retained and held over, and he was an assistant tight end coach. He's pretty much been a tight end coach all the way up until 2014, where he was uh, Jay Gruden promoted him to offensive coordinator. And obviously, there's that tie because he got his start in the league under John, his brother, Jay's brother John, in Tampa. So it's interesting, that, and again, that Los Angeles job, a guy that is saying, hey, John Gruden. I mean, how hard would it be, when they're trying to get John to come in? He's like, man, guy you really ought to talk to is that Sean McVay. Yeah, he's a pretty smart whip there. I don't know. I can't really do John Gruden, but Yeah. Yeah. I think they've kind of ran out of options. If they don't hire him, they have to call Chip Kelly to come back. Who actually he interviewed just recently as the offensive coordinator position under Marone in Jacksonville. So I don't know. With Chip Kelly, you never know. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a power struggle between Harbaugh and ownership and front office, and Harbaugh being Harbaugh. You know, that's just the thing is like there are those personalities like Harbaugh. I mean, if the guy is taking you to title games or Super Bowls, it's just kind of like those guys. I mean, you'll have those guys like in a sales room. You have that guy that, he sells everything. He outsells everybody else, but he's late to meetings or he's not involved in meetings. He's not modeling what you want him to model, but he's getting everything you want done and more. So that's kind of like where do you draw the line with some of these guys? I mean, it's kind of a situation. You look at talent, you look at results. I mean, Antonio Brown, obviously a boneheaded thing he did, um, but still, I mean, he's probably the third best player on your team, second, tied for second best. Roethlisberger's clearly the best and most important player on the team. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, you kind of those two skill guys. You got to A1 or a B1, B2 as far as yeah, yeah, yeah. And Joel Embiid can't play all of the minutes. it's 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 highly likely that it happens. If they even keep him, if they even keep Kaepernick. So it'll be interesting to see what where they go with him from there. I got a direct message here from a league source saying that San Francisco has extended an offer to Kyle Shanahan, and they plan to hire him following Atlanta's season. So that's the message I got here from a league source. So, but you kind of, obviously the writing's kind of on the wall there, but still, it's that situation. It's like, I mean, who else are they? Who else is a prospect? I don't even think Mike Smith interviewed for San Francisco. He interviewed for the Chargers. He interviewed for the Jags. He didn't go to San Francisco. I don't know. I I have too low of self-esteem. I would just take the job. Yeah, 100,000 a year. Sure, why not? Practice squad money. I'll do it. Yeah, I don't know. They don't have. There's not a ton of talent there. I mean, the guys. I mean, Curly. The funniest thing, like their most productive receiver, I think this season, really was Jeremy Curley, who actually had a decent season last year with it was the Jets, I believe. So I mean, it's just nice to see. I mean, he had 600-yard season this year. I think the only one that had a better season was I think Torrey Smith had a better season. Well, I mean, they've lost a lot of talent, and not necessarily to like injuries or free agency. Like in free agency, at least, and they would be usually get stuff back from it that they could use, but it's kind of it it's no Torrey Smith had a garbage season. My bad. Yeah, I mean, when your number one guy, Torrey Smith, he has less than 300 yards on the season. I'm just trying to. I'm going back through here. I mean, Vance McDonald, your tight end, had under 400. I'm see who they had here. Quentin Patton, 400 yards. Like, yeah, he was their standout receiver. He had 600 yards. Are you? That's Ridiculous. Oh, that's rushing. I wonder what he. Carlos Hyde had almost 1,000 yards rushing. Um, you know, well, who who did he throw 2,200 yards? Kaepernick threw for 2,200. Who to who? I mean, I just went over that. Yeah, but to who? Did they just have like 2,000-yard receivers that just quit or they cut? Where? I mean, I'm trying to do the math. 6 and 100. It said 120 some yards. That's it. Yeah. 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 I wonder where he goes because Houston seems to be somebody that might want him. Broncos clearly seem to be like his top choice, but with Paxton Lynch there, you think they might ride with Paxton Lynch? I don't know. We're up against the break here. We're gonna go to a quick break, and on the other side of the break, let's get a bit more into that and some of uh some of the prospect of uh of what we might see with the upcoming draft here too. So you're listening to the Cold Hard Truth on Sports radio show here on the GoLong Media channel on blogtalkradio.com, as well as over on Spreaker, SoundCloud, uh, and Facebook Live. So we will be back after this short break. And the line to call in 347-237-5539. All right. So all you people over there on Spreaker and Facebook Live, I have gotten a message that little bit of technical difficulty tonight hearing the guests on and the commercials. So next week we're going to work to kind of work some of that stuff out. In the meantime, go over here to the website, thechtonsports.com. Go to the listen link, and you can listen to the full unabated part of the show. Be able to hear all the commercials. You hear Kevin. This week's a new week. We haven't. We're trying to work in again. You guys here on Facebook Live, so be patient. Down here, subscribe here because I do a daily show as well. To the half with Matthew Long. I'll be able to keep you up to date on stuff there. And then also be sure to leave comments down below too, so we know how you feel about this show and the other shows and stuff we do here every Tuesday. Is again this show, the Cold Hard Truth on Sports. Wednesday is CMT Firestorm show. We're gonna go. We're actually going to have. It'll be a new show name, but right now you can find it under CMT Firestorm Sports Talk Show. And on Sundays, James Bell, our boxing editor and college football contributor, he hosts the Boxing Source radio show from 7:30 to 9:30. All right. And we're going to come back on the air here with Kevin, and I will be joined by James Bell, the boxing editor, as well. All right. Welcome back here to the Cold Hard Truth on Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Long, joined by co-host Kevin Krest. Had a little bit of issue with the commercials firing off, but it's all good now. It's all good. Now, just before the break, we were talking about kind of the situation with some of these teams that where Tony Romo might end up. We know the Broncos traded up last year to get Paxton Lynch in the first round, the end of the first round. I think the 25th pick is where they moved up to get him, kind of stole him away from Jerry Jones. Then, a lot of the rumors have been swirling around that Tony Romo's first choice is the Broncos. Kevin, do you think that's a possibility of Romo going to Denver? Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think they're going to cut him. They're probably going to cut him. I don't think Chicago knows what Chicago's doing. You know, wouldn't that be ironic? You know, for Tony Romo, you know, to replace the Tony Romo of the North in Chicago. Yeah. 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 I think that's what they'll do. They'll just cut him. Yeah, that's what I think. Because I think, yeah, the only others, if they can find a trading partner where he wants to go, but that, again, if somebody wants Tony Romo that bad, they might trade for a low round draft pick for him or cash or something like that. You know, if they want, again, that's what some teams will do when if you know a guy's going to get cut, they might go ahead and do, you know, a low end trade like that to guarantee that they get the contract. So it'll be interesting to see which direction they go. I mean, obviously, cutting him will allow him, like you said, to do the Peyton Manning thing, kind of go around the league, be wooed, and see where they're going. And I wouldn't say Chicago is not an option. Starting next year, they only have $2 million in dead money for him next year. He's a $16 million cap hit, and this is going to be the lowest cap hit they have all the way through 2020. So if they cut him next year, they owe him $2 million. That's it. if they cut him before the league year, that's he doesn't get that $2.5 million roster bonus, because if he's not on the roster at the beginning of the league year, then he doesn't get that bonus. So they can literally cut him here, here in the off season and pay him $2 million. They're done. Walk away from it. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I think so. But what do you do with Carson Palmer? I mean, it won't cut him. He's pretty much all guaranteed money. Next year, it's 28.75 is their dead money. I mean, yeah, it's a $24 million cap hit. Yeah. 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 The Vikings, well, you think he had a bad season, Sam Bradford? But I don't think they won't. They're not going to bring Romo in because Bridgewater will be healthy, and Bridgewater's their guy. Yeah. Why couldn't Los Angeles be the place he goes? Why couldn't he be a Ram? The Rams. It doesn't seem like they have too much confidence in their rookie quarterback. Their top pick. Tight end guy. Yeah, a pretty good season. Mm-hmm. Well, they have a good defense. I mean, I mean, they have the best defensive tackle in football, in Aaron Donald. We could see. I mean, Robert Quinn is another good, a good defensive end. I mean, they have guys there to make the defense work. What they've lacked was offense, and they have Todd Gurley. They're at running back, and they need to get a number one wide receiver. I mean, they have Mike Thomas. He's a complimentary guy. You mean you stick him in the slot? I mean, they have a lot of guys that aren't really guys that you're really. I mean, Tavon Austin. He's an X factor guy. I mean, you could put him in there and he could do some real damage. Um, he's more of an H back or a wing or a Z, whatever you want to call him. But they don't have a number one guy. I mean, what better draft than this one to go out and try to find a number one wide receiver? I mean, I saw some guys today that looked pretty good. One guy in particular, actually, I got my roster, the Shrine Bowl right here. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I like that guy. Yeah. Yeah. I'll put so the Rams, they don't have a first round pick this year. Remember, they dealt it away. So their first pick isn't until the second round. I mean, but the list of guys in this again, to think, I mean, Corey Davis from Western Michigan. By the way, there were some MAC guys there today, and I know you should have been here. You would have been uber excited, to see Xavier Woods from Law Tech, also a small conference guy. But I'm just saying, there were some guys here that they might have really might have wowed you from MAC conference as well. Oh, I'm trying to find the MAC guy that I spotted. Here's a. I mean, Zach Terrell was on display today from your Western Michigan Broncos. So he wasn't so bad. I mean, the West always has so much more talent than the East. They do that every year. Do you? Where I read, I mean, we can get into that tonight if you want to, but I read that Jerry Kill, he's an offensive coordinator at Maryland now. He got hired there, but trying to remember Rutgers. He's, yeah. Oh, I remember. Okay, so the new defensive coordinator for Nebraska, Bob DeBeas. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Hold up here. Anyways, he was the head coach at UConn. Bob Diaco, head coach at UConn. So Bob was let go by UConn because they didn't win any game. They sucked. I'm assuming that's why they fire him. That's usually why they fire coaches, and you don't win, you suck. They think you suck, so you get fired. But he, the athletic director, wanted to hire Jerry Kill as an offensive coordinator, but Bob Diaco refused to consider him for offensive coordinator. And that was one of the things that had led to his firing, other than sucking as well. So Kill is now offensive coordinator at Rutgers, which is weird because he stepped away for health reasons, but now he's, health reasons only. I guess you only need a year off or something. I don't know. I guess when you're a coach, you just need a year off from coaching, so you can go back and do something different. But the same in the same, just take a step back. I guess you rebuild. In Urban Meyer's case, you just rebuild a different program to winning again. I don't know. Well, I don't know if that'll be the Rutgers case or not. But I have a reaction. Yes, I agree. They're not good. And I don't think. Yeah. Right. Well, we know why. We know why the Big Ten wanted Rutgers, because there really are no schools in New York, and they get that market, and they have the academics to get in. There is, yes, there is. It's called Notre Dame. There you go. There is the TV market for New York. That's why I keep saying you need to get Notre Dame into the Big Ten. Junior hockey. Junior medicine hats. That's, the medicine hats. Yeah. Well, you watch enough college football for them. Yeah. Yeah, they have. I don't know. In your blog, according to your blog, ACC is a better conference, anyways. Oh, they're better than the SEC. You know. Oh, okay. After 10:30, of course, you got to bring the Pac-12. well, we'll publish it at midnight. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's bring him on here with us. James Bell, he's college football contributor, photographer, and editor for our boxing section. How are you doing tonight, James? You, you you haven't got any hate mail from Cowboys fans yet, have you? I have. Again, just so people know, James is the reason that the Cowboys lost. He left his lucky jersey uh, at my house for the college football playoffs that he came down and we covered. He left it here, so he didn't have it this past weekend when he went back to the DMV, and yeah, the Cowboys lost. So it's all James's fault. I don't know. Probably. So that's why Brandon. That's why Brandon Carr is mulling over retirement. You paid $75 for a lifetime membership to play the game. That's that doesn't get it suspended. Yeah, the NFC North. Yeah. Which is fair. Yeah. Let me see if I had that up here. Yeah, it's towards the end. Yeah, a lot of people were disappointed with the Eli Apple pick too. It worked out, but a lot of people were disappointed with that pick. I didn't mind it. You're sitting 28th right now. Yeah. Sidney Jones out of Washington is in this draft. Come on, let's not leave. Yeah. What's his name? Tre'Davious White, the kid from LSU. He's tall. Yeah, a tall speed guy. And you were talking about Tabor. That's the guy you were talking about from Florida. Tabor and Wilson. Yeah. Yeah. So, man. It's crazy how they just started off so good, you know? And then it was just like, talking about shatting the bed. Sure sounds like it. It's what I'm hearing. Yeah. Well, if they don't have them, then they don't have a basketball school. they don't have basketball in the SEC then. Well, Florida, I guess. Florida. I'll take it back. Florida, they're competitive. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. It's, yeah, it's the forbidden fruit, right? What are you doing? You so you disagree that Jameis Winston's a good quarterback? No, Cam Newton's not a good quarterback. He's an athlete. He's a massive human being. As a quarterback, he is not. He no. He's not a good quarterback at all. A quarterback. Uh, no, I'm not. Look look at his throwing. Watch him play. He did everything says athlete. He's he's not accurate. He's had one good season. He's had one good season and had a couple decent years. He led his team to he led his team to the Super Bowl, and then what? And what? Oh God. Oh, now we're gonna blame the refs because he can't play quarterback. Okay. hmm Well, Cam Newton's again not a good enough quarterback to even get calls. That's how terrible he is as a quarterback. He doesn't even get quarterback calls. They're like, "Yeah, you're not a quarterback. You're a defensive end that throws the ball better than other defensive ends, and not better. We're about a minute away from heading into the overtime segment. So if you want to listen into the overtime segment, you have to call in 347-237-5539. to listen live. If not, you go over to the chtonsports.com, click on the listen link, listen over there, listen on Spreaker, listen on SoundCloud, listen on soon iHeartRadio. I mean, we listen to a lot of places now. That's how we roll. What were you gonna say, James? In one of the worst divisions in football over that span. Just no. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's some people didn't think he was going to get a contract extension either. So, how many Heisman Trophy winners actually turn out to be worth a damn post 1980? None. Not really. No. Heisman Trophy winners that turn out to be, really good pro athletes. Oh, wow. He's your trifecta. Yeah. I'll let you take him to Vegas. And you take him to Vegas. I'll take Winston to Vegas, and we'll see who gets in the Hall of Fame. How about that? Fair enough. Both Alabama schools they graduated from. I'm just saying, or from, yeah. Sound like you're, I mean, this guy's a second year in his league, and you're already backing off a guy that sound like you're trying to write him into the Hall of Fame. I mean, come on, Kevin. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He won a national title. He was an MVP. He went to the Super Bowl. So you're saying he's better at being a quarterback? Is that what you're saying? It sounds a lot like you're saying he's better at the quarterback part. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It sounded that way. Well, I don't think he's a bad football player. I just think he's not a good quarterback. When I look at NFL quarterbacks, I don't think Cam Newton's a good NFL quarterback. The whole throwing thing is sort of not his thing, and that's a big part of the whole job. 19 versus 14. It was close. Oh, no. Wait, that's actually the season. 19-14. Yeah. He was right on average this year. Well, not right now. He's like a bigger he's basically Russell Wilson, just bigger. It's basically the same story. I was passed over. I didn't get picked up till late. I stepped in an unfortunate situation and did well. I'd like to thank Bill Callahan for one time. I'm gonna give some love to Bill Callahan in this situation. I mean, he basically revived Romo's career in 2 years. I mean, having a great offensive line clearly didn't hurt. And look at what he's done for Dak Prescott so far. Let's give Bill some credit. He's buying Cam hard. He's buying hard. He's going all in with Cam. Even if it's an offshore account, screw it. Cam Newton Cam is that proverbial $75 in an offshore gaming account. That's what he is. You know, he's really not you're not really winning anything with him as a quarterback because he's really not good at the quarterback part. But he's fun. You still have a riot with him. So he's your MetLife. Small. Oh, that's fair enough. I look forward to it. All right. In the meantime, be sure to head over to kevkrestsports.blogspot.com. Check out all the blogs he has over there before I actually syndicate him over on the Cold Hard Truth on Sports. You get him there first. Head over to Amazon and buy the PK Frazier novel series over there. Buy them in a bundle. I'm sure you save money if you buy them all at one time. I don't know if that's a fact, but it sounds like it makes sense. So I'll go with that. Uh, I think there's Nook and Kindle versions as well if you're a Barnes and Noble person. So uh, definitely check them out. So kind of moving over, I want to get your take on some boxing real quick. We didn't really highlight on boxing at all in the monologue, but I did want to kind of get into it because we didn't have a show last week. We had some technical issues, and there's been some moving and shaking in boxing. Um, I know obviously we have the boxing source every Sunday, but here we didn't get it. We didn't get it covered on this show, and I didn't get it on the Daily Show either. Um, can you give some of the listeners kind of a recap from the boxing source the last couple of weeks, and maybe a little bit of a preview of what you'll be getting at this Sunday? Yeah, I don't see him beating Lomachenko. No. Now, do you think the draw was a fair look? I know Mayweather was talking about after the fight that we don't. He said we don't we don't pay judges. But I mean, you take any issue with the draw? I mean, it's always sucks in any sport to come up with a tie at the end. You know. Yeah, I mean I went back and I watched it in pieces, and it's and that's it. That's always the problem, kind of watching it back, especially when you know what the results are. Um, and I watch it back without sound too, so it I didn't really see a draw. I saw a good fight. And that's one that they have to run it back again. They'll have to. That's definitely one they're going to want to rematch, especially with the majority draw. So what do you see? Okay, so moving forward, we got fight coming. What do we have coming up here as far as fights in the near future? Anything people need to really look out for? Nice. Yes, he will. He'll be at the Roberto Clemente Stadium right there across from uh, Plaza Las Americas Mall in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I know. I talked to the my people over there, so it's a that's I want to go back to I want to go to the fight. There's just so many things going on right now. It's not just won't be possible. Well, it's crazy because just the thing. I mean, we're almost in February, man. We're almost there. Like, Jesus, we're gonna look up, and it's gonna be like, man, remember 4 months ago when uh when Keith Thurman fought and unified the title and beat Danny Garcia? I mean, we're gonna be looking back. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing the fights that we have come up here just right around the corner. So I wanted to get over into some college football. Um, so I know we kind of rapped about it a little bit today as far as some of the top prospects and stuff. This Saturday is kind of kicking off, pun intended, I guess, uh, the road to the NFL draft. We have the East West Shrine Game, which is actually an official NFL event now that the NFL and the Shrine Game have partnered up. They've the attendance has really went up for that game over the last few years, and it's broadcast live on the NFL Network, which has also helped some of that. Some pretty decent talent there. They keep upgrading it each year. I think they get some decent guys. Uh, most most people. Um, Most people that get around this time of year, I mean, you hear the Senior Bowl. It's a little bit different in some regards. Um, it gets some views, but with this newer age of uh, of athletes, it's going to be interesting to see because these games are really, they're all-star games. They invite only. Gives you an opportunity to work with this particular game with actual live NFL coaches and and uh, and there's agents and scouts. Like, I'm just telling you, man, like literally there today is I saw I was coming into park and Jason Light was walking in, the GM for the Bucks. So I mean, it's crazy. Like there's a lot of people here, and that was the early game. That was the early practice, the East squad, which again, there's some decent guys and stuff out there. I mean, you get some guys in the bunch that I don't really see them going too far. Uh, but there's some decent guys out there. I mean, you could see some guys, some really developmental guys. Uh, one of those guys in particular, Jason Carr. He's a defensive tackle out of West Georgia. 6'6", 300 pounds. Just, you can just tell that he's from a small school. If he's at a bigger school and got a little bit better coaching development, he'd be better than he is. And in the NFL, after a couple of years, you probably see a good amount of change in what he brings to the table. I mean, 6'6", 300 pounds with some decent speed off the ball. Just the problem with his balance, hand placement, typical fundamental things, you probably see him higher. Today I saw another guy really caught my eye, Avery Moss at Youngstown State. He's probably one of the top defensive ends in Division II there. Now, another kid was from Colorado. Where'd he go? The kid from Colorado. Yep. Jimmy Gilbert. The kid is 6'5", 230. He looks like an off guard, but he has like this crazy spin move. He's a defensive end, but he can play coverage. So it's kind of crazy. Like some of the talented stuff you see here, just looking and seeing like some guys that, you'd be able to use them in some fashion. Like you see where some talent could really spark into something much bigger at the next level. So I enjoyed my time there today. But most of the guys that we're going to see here over the next few weeks in the media are just going to be the guys you see probably first, second round projecting guys. You're not going to hear about these guys until we get closer to the draft, when you start seeing, that those mock drafts or projections really going beyond the first couple rounds. I don't even think the NFL Network has their draft stuff up. I think actually this is actually the first opportunity where a lot of these guys that have been invited to the combine. I mean, some of these guys didn't get invited to the combine. Have a chance to actually take a look at these guys. So, as far as what you see going into this draft, just kind of talking about some of the guys, the big names and stuff that you see going in here, James. I mean, what do you hope from what do you hope to see out of this draft class so far? I know we talked a little bit earlier. I mean, with wide receivers, defensive backs. I mean, who really stands out in your mind in this draft? Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to kind of see what they got here. 'Cause, I'm taking a look at some people's top 50 players. I'm seeing Deshaun Watson at 32, Jabril Pepper is 33. Yeah, but but right under Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. What I'm not seeing a lot of is offensive linemen, which I'm not surprised because people really sleep on offensive line. I saw a couple of decent guys today. One guy out of this East West game that I want people to keep an eye on, as far as a blocker or a catcher, tight end, Colin Jeter, out of LSU, 6'6", 255. He has he runs decent routes. He's 6'6", 255. But he can block too. So I saw him in a lot of blocking drills and stuff today. So I think he did pretty well there. He kind of stood out there. Um, but one of the other guys that kind of stood out for me, uh, put two more guys out there. Jonathan McClellan. He's a offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. I think he could play a lot of different positions along the offensive line. So he's another guy we might hear something from. And then uh, a late round guy, kind of some people might be sleeping on, is Avery Genesee, another offensive tackle. He's out of Texas A&M. He'll most likely, probably most likely end up being a right tackle. Um, and he has a good kick step. His some of his issue is just technique, where too far forward, too far back. He's kind of somewhere in between, and he tends to lean a little bit instead of using his sitting down and using his technique. Uh, Kind of susceptible to inside moves because of that. But those are just kind of some guys that offensive linemen that kind of stuck out for me. Also, the center out of North Carolina, he was actually pretty good. He stuck out for me today. Uh, Joe Selfo. So I mean, he's a shorter guy. You think that's the crazy thing about centers. I mean, you can get him in at 5'10", 6'1", and they still kind of seem to work out just fine. So he's a good guy. He seemed to do pretty well today too. So look out for some of those guys. It's not on. Yeah. I'm seeing here rated above him is actually Bullis. Jarrett Bullis, offensive tackle out of Utah. Started 1 year. It's just kind of, let's see where it goes, because it's crazy, because after these games, after the Shrine game, after the Senior Bowl, and then you get into the Combine, it's just something completely different. We're probably going to look back here and wonder why, why some guy is like Kevin King is 50 on a list. A lot of people have him going first round. I don't know. We'll see where. Yeah. Yeah, sure does. So, all right, but this is pretty much going to wrap up the show here for tonight. Thank all of you for tuning in. Facebook Live, over on Blog Talk, on Spreaker. I know I got a few messages from you guys out there on YouTube Live. There was a bit of a issue with linking up between Spreaker and Blog Talk, so we're gonna work on the technical end behind that. Hopefully, we get that we can get that fixed before next week. You guys aren't hearing the guests online from this end, so we'll work to see what we can do to show that out from a technical side, moving forward. But I appreciate all of you out there tuning in, staying aboard with us. You can always go to thechtonsports.com, our website, click on the listen link. You can hear the full show with the guests and everything, or also listen on Blog Talk Radio. So that's always an option. I'll make sure that link is also available either here if you're looking on YouTube, down here in the description spot. I'll add down there so you can click over and listen to the whole show there. Also over on Spreaker, that way I'll make sure it's in the description there as well. That's all I got for you tonight. Appreciate y'all listening in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for To the Half, and for CMT Firestorm Sports Talk, which is at night, and I will have To the Half up during the day, shortly following me leaving the practice for the Shrine game. So I'm out for tonight. Peace.